Okay, so this is a continuation of my previous video. I didn't say everything that I wanted to say, so you might want to watch that first for full context. But anyways, so I was talking about a couple years ago, I finally put God first in my life for the first time in a long time because I had been living so selfishly, and I just started immediately, over time, just kept seeing God work in my life in so many ways, making it so much better, so much easier. All the weight just kept being lifted. It was so amazing. So quickly, not long after I took God serious again, I started looking for events somewhat nearby to that were focused on God, so I could keep being spiritually filled, like just wherever I could. There was one about an hour away, a church service kind of thing outdoors, and I was like, I just felt like I had to be there. So I went, and there was a guy there, and he wasn't part of the event, the service, whatever. He was just a guy that was there that really is on fire for God. He has an amazing testimony about like being freed from, I believe, drugs and all kinds of stuff. But and you'll see that like people that some of the people that are often most on fire for God are the ones who God pulled them out of their worst past, the worst. They went through a lot, and they're the most grateful for what God has done for them. They're the most passionate about trying to help people and guide them towards Christ. And so I was there on the side sitting at, like, they had these little tables at the side. Most people were sitting on lawn chairs in front of the stage. So there was a guy behind us at one of the tables praying over this woman. Her leg, I think she either had crutches or had a wheelchair. Uh, so I wasn't paying too close attention, but I was, I kind of saw a little bit of it, and he was praying over her, and I just saw her get up and walk, and it was just, I don't know what her, if she could walk at all before, but clearly God was moving there. Clearly healing was taking place, and I don't even think my mom. I don't remember my mom even seeing that part. I think she just saw him praying over people, and because I'd been going through so many years since, wow, 2014. It's in August. It'll have been 10 years since that first started, where my skin was just so bad. I don't know. uh, I could write a book about it. I really could. Um, my skin was just so bad. Like, to give you a brief example, like when I took showers, my skin was burning. Even if the water was not hot, it was just, I was in so much pain. I was like crying and screaming, and I don't. It was bad, but so even though I had recently been putting God first in my life, I was still dealing a little bit, still some issues with my skin. It wasn't healed, but it wasn't doing as bad as it could have been. Like, if it was as bad at its worst, I wouldn't be there. I would be in bed just miserable, like unable to move, like any sudden movements when it was really bad, like, would trigger me to like itch my whole face off. Like, I had literally piles of skin on the floor everywhere I went. It was horrifying. It, like, I don't even know, like, if I've ever met anyone, heard of anyone who has gone through that. It was bad, and doctors just did not know what to do. Dermatologists, they would just recommend me things, and some things would help, some things would make it significantly worse. It was a nightmare. But so, anyways, my mom saw him praying over people, and she thought, why not ask she went over and asked him if he could pray over my skin, and he was more than happy. He was excited to pray over me. Um, and later on, I think he said he didn't even maybe the next day or something, when my mom was talking to her, she got a hold of him on Facebook Messenger. I think he even said he didn't even remember what he said to me. And I believe God was truly telling that through him. When he was praying over me, I can't remember everything he said, honestly, unfortunately, but the one thing that really stuck out to me is that he said that your skin will be healed. Your skin will be as white as snow. And when my skin used to be so red. It used to be the furthest thing from white. My skin is so much better. And like, I don't know if it sounds weird to say this, but that's literally something I've always dreamed of, is having just like this really pale skin. I just love the way it looks. But obviously with how bad my skin was, I just was so badly, desperately needed it to be pure, to be good, to be not be in suffering pain anymore. And yeah, even just the next day, because he wanted me to like get in contact with him to let him know if it got better. And the next day, I told him that, yeah, I definitely feel a difference. And even after that, there was still times where it still got a little bad, but for the most part, it's been the most. Sorry, I just got a message from a girl. I'm so distracted now. Okay, hold on. What was I talking about? No, sorry, that was my uncanny reaction. Okay, hold on. All right, I was gonna say, my skin has been the most, over these last couple years since I put God first in my life, it has been the most consistently good. That almost that whole time, like before, like there would be times where my skin would be good, but it would only last like a month or a couple months, or sometimes only a week or a day or an hour or a minute. Like it was so inconsistent. God is so consistent. My skin has been so consistently good since putting him first in my life. And that is a testimony that I will preach until the day I am no longer on this earth. I am so grateful to God for saving me, not just spiritually, but physically. I wanted to harm myself. I gotta be careful with what I say. I was in so much pain. There were times where I would never end my life because I genuinely thought that if you killed yourself, I don't know if this is going to trigger any censors, but I always thought that if you killed yourself, you would go to hell because killing is a sin. I have a deeper understanding about that now. It's not necessarily that simple. Don't do that to yourself. But I was in so much pain that if it hadn't been for the fact that I really believed I would go to hell if I killed myself, I would have considered it, because I was suffering so badly. And the worst part is, no one knew what I was going through. I understand now that God knew everything, and he must have been so torn apart seeing me so miserable and not going to him. But I completely lost my train of thought. I forget where I was going with that. But yeah, so God does amazing things. You have to put that trust. You have to have faith. Faith is something that people get that wrong all the time. They think faith means without seeing anything. God still gives us evidence. God still shows us himself in his own perfect ways. It may not be in the way the world wants to see it. The world will only believe in God if God literally walks down and tells him actually, even then, a lot of people won't, because Jesus literally walked this earth and many people still rejected him. Think about that for a minute. All right, God bless. Amen.